Hello there, this is Sue at Miller's Laboratory. Welcome back to my channel. I'm glad you came back. This is the second in a series of videos where I'm preparing a book that I'm going to be doing for a giveaway, 500 toasts for 500 subscribers. So thanks for coming back. Please make sure and leave a comment. That's how you're going to put an entry in for the contest. What I'm doing right now is I am just putting a little bit of clear shoe polish onto the cover that I got cut apart in the last video. Just get that put out of the way here. I've already done a little bit of this, but I'll just put a little bit more on to show you what I'm doing. I'm just simply rubbing it on here and kind of working it in a little bit to the fabric. And the purpose of this is to protect this cover a little bit, give it a little bit of water and stain resistance, and just keep it also the color, the red color, from coming off in the future in case it gets damp or something. So I've already done this one. Just dropped a little crumb on there. And when you put the shoe polish on these, you can feel it. It feels a little bit waxy, and it has a smell. It definitely has a smell to it. In my experience, as that dries and sets, you don't smell it anymore. And if it darkens your cover or whatever it is that you're putting it onto, that also seems to lighten back up when it dries. So it really doesn't seem to affect the look of it once it's all set. I'm going to put it aside. And the next thing I'm going to do here is go ahead and cut this double layer cardstock for the spine of the book. So what I did since the last video is I just went through all those pages I showed you, and I kind of divided them up and I put them into 5 signatures here. And you can see that I've got some stragglers, stuff hanging over the edge. I haven't quite decided whether I'm just going to trim those off or if they'll be folded over and used as some kind of a flip. So I'm leaving them on there for now. It's easier for me to make the decision on those after I have the book put together and I can kind of page through. So what I'm looking at here is how thick it is, and keeping in mind that I'm going to be putting more stuff inside. There are pockets in here. There are going to be, page extensions and things like that. So it's actually going to be thicker than what you see here. And right now it's about, if I just lay it on my, my cutting mat here, it's about, if I just kind of let it be, it's about 1 1/4 inches. So I am going to make this spine about 1 5/8 inch thick, which is pretty wide, but I want to accommodate everything that I want to put in there. So I'm just going to use my trimmer if it works. I'm not sure how well it's going to work on this double thickness cardstock, but we're going to give it a try. Okay, so let me just trim it down a little bit so it's the right, so it will fit in there both ways. Oh yeah, that was good. All right, so I'm going to cut. I've got a nice straight edge here, and I want to make sure I have a nice 90-degree angle here. So I'm just going to cut that edge off a little bit. Okay, and then get that out of there. We're going to go to the 1 5/8 and cut it for the thickness. So, so 1/4, 1/2, 3/4. Let's do this way. You know what? I'm just going to do 1 3/4. I'm just going to plan on stuffing this book really thick. So we'll just do it. Okay. I mean, if you guys watch me ever, you know that I tend to overstuff the books anyway. They get really chubby. They get very chubby. So we may as well just plan on me being excessive like I usually am here. All right. Now we want the spine to be the same height as our book, so I don't have to cut very much off of this. I'm just going to put a little pencil mark on there. I'm going to cut it right about here. I'll put it back on the trimmer one more time and trim it to length. I didn't do that very well, did I? That's all right, we'll do it like this. Okay, there's our spine. And in case I'm going to do 5 signatures. I often will do 3, but I just thought 5 would be nicer for this. The more you have, the better the pages turn and everything. So if you can do 5, it's good. So I'm going to. All right, put that aside. All right, now I'm just going to wait a few more minutes and then I will come right back and we'll go ahead and assemble the cover with the fabric and the new spine. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. The shoe polish setup on my covers, you'll get to see those in a minute when I flip these over. And what I have done here is laid this all out on my cutting grid so that everything is symmetrical and I can make sure that everything is lined up and that I have the same amount of space. I have about 1/4 of an inch or so between the spine and the cover, and that's where you get that little hinge. So that is going to help me put everything together nice and straight. Now I grabbed a couple of my punches here because I'm going to use those as weights, and I'm just going to set one on this cover here. I'm going to make sure I don't jiggle it, and put one on this cover here. Can't really do anything on the spine without it being in the way, but this will help. And then what I did is I just cut myself a piece of craft paper that is just, you can see, just a little bit wider so that it will be on this edge of the cover and this one and cover the spine. Let me just get that. It's tipping and that's driving me nuts. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cover this whole piece of craft paper with some, again, my tacky glue here, and spread that out so that it's really even. This is just adding a little bit of reinforcement, a little stiffness to that hinge, and setting everything nice and even so that when I go to put the cloth on, it's just all nice and in place and I don't have to worry about anything shifting. So putting a decent amount of glue on there. There we go. And let me just put the cap on that here. Now you can probably hear my husband out there doing the snow blowing. Yep, there's a good amount of snow over there. I think he went over to the neighbors first and did theirs because he's a nice guy, and then now he's out there doing ours. So definitely need it. We got a good amount of snow. I haven't really heard the report to know how much, but I mean, it wasn't a foot or anything, but it was a good amount. So all right, so I don't know if you could see me doing that, but I'm just smearing that on there, and I'm just gonna lay it right in here. If this isn't exactly even, it won't hurt anything, but it's just to help. Okay, so I'm laying that there, pressing it down, and just pressing down here in the middle where the spine is. Now I'm going to have glue all over my mat, so we'll worry about that in a sec here. I'll grab a wipe and clean it off. But once I have that all pressed down, I'm just going to go ahead and flip it over so you can see now what that looks like. Let me grab a wipe here. Okay. All right, so going to let that set up for a minute. Now you can see here that that brown paper is actually a little bit longer than my spine, so I'll trim that in a second. I'm just going over this and making sure all those edges are pressed down really well. Okay, and I trust that tacky glue, it's going to do a good job. I'm going to come in with my scissors right now and go ahead and just trim that extra brown paper off. That is all going to be covered up with fabric, so it doesn't have to be beautiful. Okay. Let's see, I might need to do just a little bit here too, because I didn't get it on there perfectly straight, and that's okay. It's okay. All right. pressing again here to make sure everything is good. All right. So I've decided to make the spine with just one piece of fabric that wraps all the way around. I haven't done one of those in a long time, and I thought that maybe you guys would like to see that. It's nothing fancy or anything, but so get my punches out of the way here, put my pages out of the way here, and I've got my fabric, and we need to get it the right width. So I want to obviously extend from cover to cover so that it's holding it nicely. I do not want to cover up my title at all. So it looks like I'm going to be, and it doesn't have to be perfectly even either. If there's a little more fabric on the back cover, that isn't going to matter. Looks like I want to cut it right about here. So I'm just going to cut it, just a snip, and then tear it. All right, and now I'm just working with this strip of fabric, and it's got those nice little frayed edges, which I really like. Okay, so that's gonna lay on there like that. Isn't that cool? All right, so one thing I like to do, let me just get this extra, there's kind of a creased edge on here that's just annoying me because it doesn't want to lay flat. Okay, all right. So what I'm going to be doing is wrapping this around, and there will be a little bit of doubling of fabric on the inside at the bottom. So I'm gonna take my fabric and I'm going to put it in half, fold it in half here, and I'm just going to crease that with my nail so that I know where that is halfway. That's going to help me center the fabric over the spine when I glue it down. All right, so we're just kind of running my thumbnail along that so that I get a little bit of a crease. You can't see it real well, but it's there. And that will help me to line everything up centered. So I'm going to put the book down here. And again, you can use your grid. So I know that my book cover is centered in this square here. So if I put my fabric centered here, I will be good. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. All right. So we want to put the glue on the cover and not go over farther than we want it. All right, so I'm just going to go a little bit. You can always add more glue afterward if you need to. I'm just going to put it here. Am I on screen? Move that up a little bit. That would be better. And also here. And then here, all on our spine. My glue is not coming out really good. Sorry, it's going to take a sec to get enough on there. We want a good amount. I also do not want like the paper, you know, I don't want it like totally saturating the fabric and coming through. So you just want enough to cover it well, but you don't want to be, you know, globbing it right through the fabric. So I'm just spreading that out so it's kind of even, and also on here and then here. And then over onto the front cover. And don't worry, you can always peek up your fabric and tuck a little more glue underneath on that front edge or that back edge if you need to. All right. Okay. Just get a little bit of excess off of there. Don't need too much there. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of fold my fabric up so it's a little bit out of my way, and I'm going to be wrapping a little piece from the bottom over to the other side, so I want to hang down a little bit off the edge and slide it over a little bit that way. I'm kind of looking at my grid here to try to make sure it looks centered. Maybe this way just a little bit. That's pretty good. All right, and then we can just go ahead and unfold our fabric and smooth that out. And I want the fabric to push down into that crack here. And right up against the edge of the book cover there, like that. Okay. All right, so there we have it. And then if you need to adjust a little bit, obviously I've got stripes here, so I want to make sure they're nice and straight. And you can kind of, you know, play with that fabric a little bit this way and that to make it nice and straight. I don't like what I did there. There, that's good. Okay. All right, and I'm just pressing it all down quite well here. Your tacky glue, I mean, you have a little bit of time, but you don't have a ton of time to fix it. So there. Okay, and then we'll flip it back over again. Okay, and then we're gonna get the little thread off of here. We're going to bring this up, and then we'll bring this down over the top of it and cut that off at the bottom. So let's get a little glue here. Actually, we can probably put glue on the whole thing now. We'll just have to tuck a little bit on that bottom overlapping part again. Come on. Okay. Spread it. Okay. All right, we'll fold this guy up first. Here. And then this guy's going to come down. Just meet. And there we have it, nice and neat. Nice and neat. Okay. All right, now I'm just going to turn this because I want to tear the edge off here. I like the torn edge. I don't really like the cut, but you're certainly welcome to cut it if you want to. It might be a little tricky here without pulling all my glue off. There we go. Okay. There we go. And then we're just going to pull this up and come back under and get glue on the rest of that. It comes right about down to the bottom, so a little bit of overlap there. All right, so I hope that that was easy to see and understand. Okay, I think we got it. Smooth it all down really good. All right, let's wipe some of this glue off my finger, and then it's going to look like that. Look at that big fat book. It's crazy fat, but it'll be fun. I hope you guys think it's fun. All right. Okay, so there we have it. And that is all I'm going to do for this video. So thanks again for joining me. Appreciate you coming. Appreciate everything. And have a wonderful day. See you soon. Bye-bye.